Hello everybody. Happy Monday. Still trying to get set up here. There's a lot more to set up for gel printing, especially when I have to move everything else off the desk. I am going to leave the camera a little bit wider for gel printing so that you can see a little bit more of my desk and see more plates than just the one plate. I've got a couple other plates over here on standby. Let me see if I can even reach my keyboard now. Get your gel plates and paint out. We'll start soon. Thank you, Margie. Hello, Margie. Happy Monday. Hey, Margie, take a guess at the password. It's what I had to do. I only tried a couple of times and I actually got it. So I always thought a brayer was a donkey. Who knew it was a roller thingy? Yes, indeed. Cheryl, don't have any gel printing supplies. That's okay. We can still use your help picking some color combinations and things like that. And if you like gel prints, but you don't have the plate and the things to do it, at a time that you win the prize pack, I could stick some gel prints in there for you if you would like. Not everybody likes it. So some people like seeing it, don't like doing it. Other people like using the papers, but don't want to do it or don't have the supplies. That's totally okay. All of the above are acceptable. Hey, Melanie. Hope you got your plate out, Melanie. Ready to go? Hello, Glynis. I know Glynis has her plate out. Stupid keyboard. Oh, Melanie, it is so addictive, isn't it? It's one of those things when I sit down and do it, I don't want to stop. And I want to just leave it on my table and keep coming back. And then I can't do anything else. Oh, man. We did gel print at retreat. And yeah, there's always so many techniques and things shared there. It's really fun to do it with a group because you can share ideas and techniques and try things. Shakina 29. Hey, Shakina. Welcome. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's your first live with us. Awesome. So happy to have you here. From Arkansas. Nice. Hey, Deshelle. Got your gel plate out? I'm sure you do. Gonna break it in. We're gonna break Deshelle's gel plate in today. Melanie's ready to go. Awesome. Welcome. Smash the like button, please. Thank you, Margie, for the reminder. We do appreciate that. You know, we keep finding new friends all along the way. And the way that we find them is when YouTube decides enough people like this video that we'll put it out in front of some other people who might like the same thing. And for me, in my mind, that's really important because the more new friends we meet that come in here, like all of you people that have just, only been here a few weeks or it's your first time, we're so excited to have you here because new people means new ideas, new inspiration, new projects to look at that you're making, all kinds of things. So we just love meeting new people and sharing and watching and learning and all this stuff. So friends, can't have too many of them, right? So please do smash that like button, as Margie says. And let's invite more people. Chris, good morning, Chris. Do you have your gel plate out? Hopefully. Margie, thank you for getting us started on the super chat. Margie has started and reminded me to remind you about the super chat. We have started a tradition where, and I don't have it in front of me because I did not want it to get paint all over it. Every time we do a live, anytime we go live for anything at Happy Paper People, we are going to do a giveaway. And give away a pack of stuff. There'll be at least 20 items in there. They could be supplies, they could be stamps, dies, washi, things that we've made on Monday Jump Starts together, just all kinds of things like that. And so I'll put these packs together. In fact, I was organizing things and I was putting stuff in bags and getting them all packed up, ready to go. And then everybody who participates in Super Chat during that live. Hi, Jill. I'm so glad you could be here. And thank you for the Super Chat. Everybody who participates in the Super Chat will get into that drawing. We'll do that right at the end, right before we end. We put up the wheel of names and put all the names on it. And the winner gets that pack of fun, that pack of goodies. Hang on, I'm just writing this down. Awesome. Okay, so then I need to just, there we go. Make sure my sound and everything is good there. Spread some jam out and use she found some gel plates. Oh no, you couldn't find your gel plate, Sylvia? Ah, shoot. As soon as we finish, you'll find it. Keep looking. So when you are the one who wins the gift bag for that day, then I ask you to contribute $5 towards the shipping. It always costs more than that, even the small pack. I will pay the rest, and we'll just have you PayPal that after the fact. Don't put that in Super Chat. We'll just PayPal that for shipping. But then I will give you the option. If you would like to send $10 shipping instead of $5, $10 is the cost of a flat rate bubble envelope. I will stuff that envelope full of stuff for you. And that will hold a lot of stuff. It's about 3 times what is in one of the packs. One of the, the packs that for $5 shipping. So if you want to do $10 shipping, I will stuff a full padded envelope for you and send that. So all you're paying is shipping. So I'm really excited to be sharing some of this stuff. I've got containers full of things that we have made during jump starts. Thank you, Chris. Hey, Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie, are you filling up to gel printing yet? I'm so glad that you're here. Can't stay the whole time, but wanted to come in for the super chat. Absolutely. Yeah, if you have to leave before we do it, Jill, absolutely, we'll let you know. I can pack an envelope. I can get a lot of stuff packed in flat rate containers from USPS because, man, I'm not a fan of the high postage costs. And so, because it costs so much, I have learned how to just pack a ton in there. And yeah, I can. And Margie, yours is by the door, ready to go to the post office. Okay, so I just pulled out some gel plates and I haven't touched them in months. Some of them have some really good crusties on them from last time. Some people like to clean them up completely before they, when they finish, before they put them away. Others like to leave it on, and then this can get on to the next print. Neither way is right or wrong. You just do whatever you like to do. But I think I need to do a couple of pulls just to try to clean them up, get some of the stuff off, get them back in the groove. This one over here, this long one, I'm going to use this one just as my brayer off. Instead of putting paper there, I'm just going to brayer onto my excess paint onto this one. And then every so often when it gets kind of built up, I will pick it up, put paper down and pick that up. I have some copy paper, plain copy paper. I have a little bit of cardstock. It's light, a really light cardstock, so it's just heavier than copy paper. I have a few sheets of deli paper that we can play with. And I have, this is a Japanese calligraphy paper. It's really light and thin, but it should be strong because it's meant for calligraphy. So we can try that. And I have what is this one called down here? I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's much larger. It's also one of those Japanese papers, but it feels a little bit thicker than, well, I guess it is a calligraphy paper. So let me just share this with you. I didn't know this for a very long time. If you're using any kind of specialty paper and you feel one side has kind of a texture and the other side is smoother, it's typically the smooth side you want to use to pick up your gel print. The other side will pick up, but it will give you a much different look. Typically, you get a much more pixelated look on that side. And if that's what you're going for with that particular thing, then definitely you want to use that. I wondered, Carrie, if you felt like your shoulder was strong enough. Oh, yeah, Jill was at the last retreat and we did some gel printing there. Okay, let's get started. Okay, the hardest part for me is always just deciding what color to start with. What color to start with? Let's start with this coral red. First thing I'm going to do, so for those of you, I know that there's a couple of you that said you have gel plates and you have not ever used them. So the first thing we're going to do is just pick up a couple of sheets of color. Okay. Nothing fancy, nothing special, because we're going to build on them. But the first thing you want to do is get used to picking up just sheets of color. So I'm going to put some paint out here. I'm just using acrylic paint. Doesn't even matter what brand. I've got 3 or 4 different brands here. I'm going to put 6 or 7 little dots of paint. We'll see if that's enough. Better to use too little than too much, because you can always add a little bit. It's much more difficult to take it away. And when you have too much, you just end up with a mess all over the place. Even if you do take it away, I mean, you take it off and you can just brayer it over here, but you still end up with quite a mess. I'm trying to get this over the corner to pick up some of that crusties on the corner, which I really like to pick up. But sometimes the paint doesn't want to stick to them so well, so it's harder to pick them up. So then it takes several pulls. So depending on how crusty my gel plate is from the last time, it can take, 5, 10 pulls to get all of those crusties off. Okay, so I've spread that out nicely. I'm just going to brayer off what is left here. And I'm just going to let that start to build up. If I can get a hold of a piece of paper there. I'm going to put the paper down and just press it evenly. Try to get the corners. It might take it will take a few pulls to get all those crusties off of the corners and the edge. Oh, Melanie, I'm so sorry. Yeah, Carrie, I hear ya. I'm struggling a little with mine, and I am 6 months ahead of you, so I understand. I'm trying to do too much. Paper cuts are not good. Absolutely, Sylvia. Absolutely. That's what Glennis did last time. So not a problem at all. I'm going to write that down. I'm just keeping track of the super chat names, so it'll be quick and easy to get them in at the end. Okay, so those of you who have not done this before and you're brand new, when you put this down, how do you know when to pull it up? Well, if I'm rubbing this and I'm feeling it, first I've got some wrinkles here, and it still feels like it's kind of wet. Also, it feels cool. As it dries, that cool will go away. So I could pick it up and I would get kind of a distressed print, which sometimes that's what we're going for. I could get a distressed print and it would leave some paint on the plate, which is also fine, because then when I put the next layer on and pick that up, then I'm going to get more than one color. So it all depends on what you're going for. But if you want to just learn the basic techniques, then you want to leave this down until it doesn't feel so cool anymore. And if you put too much paint on, it's going to stay wet a lot longer, and it's going to feel cool a lot longer. This is the reason that I like more than one plate, because while this one is drying, I can come over here and I can put something on this one. This one's almost gone, so let's just see if we can't use that up. I've got a lot of bottles of paint that only have a little bit left, so maybe we can use some of them up. So if I have 2 plates, then because I'm impatient, I put it down, I want to pull it up, I want to see what I get right now. And that's been my biggest problem, because I pull it up too soon. I just don't want to sit around and wait. So if I have a second plate, I can let that one sit there and completely dry while I come over and work on another plate. And that has really helped my technique a lot, just being able to. Now I've got a little too much paint, I can tell, because it's spread out super easily. Didn't even take me that much to spread it out, and there's more sitting there. So I'm going to come over here. Look at all that extra paint. So I put too much. I didn't need as many dots because they were bigger dots. That is such a pretty color blue. Move that out of the way. Hi, Patty. Hello, hello. So I have 5x7 plates and then these 8x10. And, you know, even if you have one large and one small, you can be working on one and then the other. So they don't all have to be large plates. The other thing is I have a, what is the big one? 12x16 or 14x16 or something like that. I can never remember. And honestly, I hardly ever pull it out. So if you're thinking, you know, do I want that big one? Should I get that big one? Completely up to you. However, you need to keep in mind that if you have a great big giant one, you got to have great big giant paper. So if you want to do posters, that's one thing. Either that or you use it in sections. You do a section and you put some on it here, and then you go over and you use another section. That's a little difficult because they tend to run into each other. I've tried it, can do it, but it's a little more challenging. I'm trying this. Okay, so you can see the difference in these two plates. This one's 8x10. So an 8.5x11 paper goes right over the edge, leaves that little bit of an edge. And this one is 9x11, the left one. So the 8.5 paper in 9x11, but it's really 8.5 because it is exactly, the paper is exactly top to bottom. And then you can see the edge over here. So my 8.5 paper here, there's a 1/2 inch left. So that's 9 inches wide. And you can tell I didn't get the paper exactly straight because there's a little bit showing over there. But when I put this paper down and I want to rub it all the way to the edge, but I really don't want to get all over that strip of paint right there. And I'll just leave that. You know, sometimes if I think about it, I won't go all the way to the edge there, but I'll just leave it, let that build up in crusties, and then, you know, pick it all up, you know, with a paper or add it to another one. So if I get a print and then just want some texture on it, I can take it and just lay it over this edge and just pick up that edge there. Thank you, Patty. Got you on the list for today's drawing. Patty has already run the drawing twice, so she is a lucky charm. Hang around, Patty. Thanks, Carrie. I'm excited to be giving this stuff away. Thank you. Yes, Margie, thank you for watching that for me. Thank you to everyone who has contributed. Really do appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this one and I'm going to lift it. It should be long enough that it's dry. And I know that the corner crusties are going to be hard to pick up. So I'm going to come over here, kind of lift this up and try to peel it back a bit to get the paint to stick to the paper instead of the gel plate. Now, a lot of that's still stuck to the gel plate. Might be difficult to see in the dark there. Looks like it's in the shadow of the paper. But there's red paint on top of it. So it held some of the paint. So the next time I do a print, it will get more paint, and one of these will just pick up all of the crusties. It usually takes multiple pulls to get all those crusties off that have been sitting there for months, for a very long time. So when you're pulling it up, for those who are new to it, you could just pull it up like this, or you can put it low and peel it back. I have found the best results from peeling it backwards. And I don't have any room up there because I've got paint. So I'm going to try to, and if I don't have any room, I can pick up my plate and flip it around and peel it this way. You can also flip it upside down and peel the plate off of your paper instead of your paper off of your plate. We'll try that at some point. So this corner is sticking. I'm going to try to get some of those crusties up. So I'm going to try to, oh, look, I got some DNA in there. There's my hair. One long hair in the middle of that print. Let me get that off. There we go. Okay. So there's a lot of leftover stuff on here and there throughout. And you can see that by, when you look at this, you can see all the other colors that are in it. We put red down, but I can see gold and blue and all kinds of other colors, some green in there from previous pulls. That's why I like to leave the crusties to build up and pick them up with a future pull, because I get some really cool textural things. So this is already dry, by the way. People often worry about, you know, where do I set all those things to dry? It's already dry. But I'll just set it down. And then the next one I pull, I'll set on top of it going the opposite direction. And the next one going this direction. And then the opposite direction. And just stack them up like that. They really dry so fast that it just doesn't take any time at all. And stacking them up is not an issue. So let's see if this one is dry yet. Okay, so let me show you. If we were to peel the plate off, look, there's even color on this side. And look at all these little divots from where it got stuck on top of crusties and stuff. My plates are pretty old. Okay, so I could come over here and hold my paper down and peel the gel plate off. If I felt like the paper wasn't peeling off very easily, I could pull the gel plate off like that and hold the paper down. So I'm just going to flip this over because I'm out of space up there. And I'll peel this backwards like this. So this strip down the side where the paper didn't go is still there. And I'll get that in a future pull. There we go. And this is just copy paper. So that, super thin, normal copy paper. And so I pull it carefully because it is just copy paper, but it works great. And then they're good pages to use in journals because of their weight. Thank you, Sylvia. My plates are old. I don't even drink coffee, Sylvia, and I need your 4 cups of coffee today. Okay, so if we're going to do something on top of this red, what might be a good color? A gold would be a good color, or a yellow. Let's try something. Let's try this. Open up my paints. It's been so long. I have to pull the crusties off the paints. I'm going to put some gold down. This is a metallic gold. It's almost gone, so maybe we can use that up today. I'm going to use a stencil this time, and I'm going to start to layer on top of this first one. And so to get a feel for it, you can go through and just do a bunch of solid color, pull it, solid color, pull it. And once you've used your plate for a while, you can see even a solid color doesn't come up solid because of all the other things that are left behind, which I am totally okay with. If you're not, then you want to definitely clean it really good after you've used it before your next gel printing session. Okay, so I'm putting this metallic gold, and meanwhile, I should have already identified what stencil I want to use, and I didn't. So let me see if I can do that quickly before that paint dries. It helps if you kind of look at what stencil you want to use before you're ready to use it. Where's the circle one? That should be easy. I've got a stack of stencils down here. I'm going to use this one. Bunch of circles. And then I'm going to put my red print right down on top of it. And I'm going to rub it really good. And I'm going to pull up the gold through those circles. So I'm adding a second layer to the red. I have some plates that I messed up, Cheapo Timu ones I bought early on. I use them specifically to make grungy prints. Nice. They look like old walls with peeling paint. Yeah, that's cool. And they were cheap in Timu, so you don't feel bad having, I don't know. I haven't tried any of those, but I have heard that before, that they weren't great quality. But if that just means they don't give you clean prints, then it's a great way to get some grungy stuff. Every year my son visits, he wins lotto, $1,000 or more. Wow. He gives me some, but won't share his numbers. That's amazing, Sylvia. He does that when he comes to visit you. I know he comes every year for like a month, which is really nice. He cooks for you and spends time visiting. Okay, now I hope that wasn't too dry because it took me a minute to find my stencil. So I'm really rubbing it to try to get some of that gold up. There we go. So we've got gold circles and other shapes from that stencil. So now if I pull that stencil up, you can see that there's still gold left where the stencil was. So I want to make sure that that is completely dry. And you can always just touch it where it's thickest on these corners where it's starting to layer up. But this is, I'm going to give it just a second. And then we're going to use the same red on top of that. And you can see the inversion of that design. So let me identify another stencil here. Actually, let's not do a stencil. Let's do a something to mark make. Okay, so mark making tools. Everything is a tool for us. Everything is a mark making tool. Literally anything that will make a mark. So bubble wrap. You probably all have bubble wrap in your house. That's a really great mark making tool. You just need a little piece that you keep using over and over. Combs of different types. This comb just stays in both of these stay in my paint. You can make all kinds of designs there. I'm going to use a placemat for this one. So let's see. How about we do, let's see, we've got that blue going. Let's something else would be really pretty with gold. Maybe, well, I'm going to try to use this blue up today. So I'm going to use this blue. This is the same one I had over here before. See if I can get enough out of there. I'll try to get it all out and then I'll end up with too much. But how it always happens, there's still a little bit more in there. But let's try this. Red and gold. Red and gold is pretty, isn't it? I'm going to try this gold and blue. I really need to clean these brayers. I don't clean my brayers every time. As long as the brayer will roll, it is perfectly fine. And the paint dries between every time you do this. The paint dries from one layer to the next. So you really, I brayer off the excess and then just leave it. And then just go, even if you change colors, it doesn't matter. You just change colors. It's not going to hurt the brayer and it just dries so quickly. Okay, I'm going to have to pick that up pretty soon because I had a lot of blue on there. Okay, so I've got that blue down. I'm going to bring this, this is just a placemat. I don't really want to get it on the gold, but the gold should be dry. If I cover the whole plate up to the corners and knock all my paint over. And I'm just pressing it into, I'm trying not to pick up a bunch of paint in between on my fingers. That's not what I want to do. But I'm going to try, in fact, I'm going to do this. I don't want to pick up a bunch of paint. What I want to do is just press this placemat into it to create texture, to create design in there. Yeah, there are a ton of YouTube videos with recipes of how to make your own gel plate if you would like to. I would suggest watching multiples of them and then picking which one looks like it will work the best to you. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that I could recommend. I just know that there are tons out there. Over the years, I have watched a lot of them. But there have been, you know, some people make them and they're just not great. Other people have made them and they've been very successful. So I would watch multiple videos. There we go. Look at that. That's cool. Oh, cool design with a little smash right down the middle of it. Okay. So now I can see that the blue paint is still wet. So I'm going to leave that and let that dry. When that's completely dry, I'm going to brayer gold over the top of it and pick it up. And so when we lift it up, always remember that what you put down first is going to be what you see on top of your print. So if I layer on top of it, that's going to be the background. So this one, let's go to this coral red. Put some of that. This is the same red. I have multiple brayers too, and sometimes I'll use one brayer. Like today, I'm using one brayer for warm colors and one brayer for cool colors. Doesn't really matter that much. I mean, honestly, you can just use one brayer, but I do happen to have multiple brayers and different sizes. I'll show you some of those and where I might use them. So this is, I feel like I need just a little more because it's already super dry and not even quite to the edge. So I'm going to put just a little more. You can always add. It is much more difficult to take away. So here we go. Get that all the way over to the edge. I try to put these plates really close together so you can see everything. And then I have to be really careful not to run on top of one. Doesn't matter if I run over that brayer off one. Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to take this one that I put on top of there. No, I'm not going to do that. I want a clean one because that one was blue. I want one for red. Okay. I'll just use that one to pick up the blue one. Has a couple little spots of blue paint on it, and that's blue, so it doesn't matter. Good point, Glynis. You cannot leave the paper on too long. In fact, on times when I'm finished, I'm at the end of my gel printing session, and there's lots and lots of crusties and paint left all over the plate. If I want to clean it off, I don't go wash it. I put a nice layer of paint and maybe a little more generous paint than I would normally. You want to keep it pretty thin when you're picking them up like this. But I'll put a nice generous coat of paint on it, and then I'll put a piece of cardstock, just a little heavier than copy paper. Copy paper will work, but when I'm doing that and I want to pick up everything, I'll use a light cardstock, and I'll put it on like this, and then just leave it. As Glenna said, walk away. I just leave it overnight. I'll do that on all my gel plates spread out, then come back the next morning and pick them all up. And those are some of my absolute favorite pulls because they'll have 5, 10, 15 layers of different colors and things on them. Hi, Leah. Welcome, welcome. Ooh, Leah, you've made a gel plate. You melt it and re-pour it if it gets damaged, or if you want a certain shape. Awesome. Yes, I have a round one, and you could do that in a round pan, like just one of those round silicone pans, or probably a round cake pan. I don't think I would use them for baking after doing this, but if you go to Goodwill and you pick up just a round cake pan for $1 or $2, then yes, if your paper starts to tear, that means it's not dry enough. So leave it on there. I can feel that this is still wet. It feels cool. So I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to come over to the blue one and hope that that one is dry. Parts of it are still really shiny, but it appears to be dry. So I'm going to, this gold is almost out. I know I've got another one. So let me grab another one before I start putting that down, or it'll dry before I can get to the other one. Reaching down into the paint box. Here we go. Oh, that's not exactly the same, is it? Nope. Pretty close. So what if I mixed golds? Would it make a difference? Just in case there's not enough of this one. Let's see. I'm going to try. There's so many different shades of gold. There might be enough. Getting in there and squeezing it out like that, there might be enough to do that pull. In fact, I think there will. I probably have too much right now. I'm going to put it all out there, though, just because I want to call this one empty and toss it. I'm not cutting it open to get all the paint out. No. All right, so let's get that gold. I can see a hair on my brayer, stuck to my brayer in the paint. Lots of gold, too much gold. I will put some of it on the brayer off page, or a plate over there. And then I'll put a paper down and pick that one up. I'll use the gold to pick it up. Okay, that's a lot of gold, and that's okay. I'm going to do this. Pick a little bit of it up. It's not quite so thick over here. All right, and let's see. I know we've got some half pages. Oh, I want a full page because that's too long. All right, so let's just do this on that one. That might not even be enough gold on there to pick it all up. Okay, and I'm using the same one that I used through the placemat. Okay. All right, so I just want to press it down. You don't have to press it down super hard. I just want to get even pressure. I know I've got grungies on the outside edges, so I'm trying to make sure I go up that edge to try to get this stick. Otherwise, it just won't stick, and I'll just keep getting more and more layers of leftover paint there. Okay, so this is just copy paper, and you can see that it buckles a little bit here, a little bit of wrinkle. It's pretty wet. Get that one out of the way. Let's come back to the red and gold one, and that feels dry. So let's go ahead and start the pull. I see right there, a tiny bit of paint stayed on the plate and not the paper. And so if I saw that coming along, I would stop and see if it's dry or not dry. There's a little defect right there from something that probably got sat on it, or it sat on top of something. There's a little divot right there, and that's why it's stuck down in that. So because I know that, I will keep pulling. But I'm also watching, because if it, like Carrie said, if the paint or paper starts to tear, then I know it's not dry enough. It needs to sit on there longer. Because of space, I'm going to turn it around. And I'm pulling slowly so that if something happens, I can stop quickly. If I see right there. See right there, the paper started to tear off. And that's because there's so much grungy on the edge that the grungy's strong. So when you put paint down, it can either stick to what's down or what's going up. And it's going to stick to whatever is strongest. So if there's layers and layers of grunge on the bottom, that's pretty strong. And so to stick to the paper, it has to have long enough to adhere to the paper and stick there stronger than it is to those grungies will hold it. So, okay. And using a little bit heavier paper, it would pull a little bit easier. But I like using copy paper because it's a good weight to use as pages in journals or to tear up for collage. So here are the two same colors, but the two pulls from the same stencil, just like the positive and the negative of it. And you might like one better than the other, or using them together, or, you know, different situations. And so you can pick a color combination that you want to sit down one day, just pick 3 or 4 colors and color combination. And you can do so many things with just a few colors. You don't have to have this many colors spread out. I always think, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what colors I want to use unless it's for a specific project, or maybe you guys want to see a particular color combination. So I tend to pull out all kinds of colors. I actually pulled out less today than I normally do, but to see how this one isn't sticking very well over here, and that's because there wasn't very much gold paint on top, and the last layer is your pickup layer. So the most paint was right here, and that stuck to the paper, and I'm okay with that. This is my grungy brayer off plate, And so I'm okay just getting whatever pulls up. And then after I put some more down and put it down, I'll do that next to it. And this will just be like a pull up off the brayer page. These are really cool when you get all done and they're dried to doodle on, because you get all kinds of funky shapes and, you know, colors and sizes of parts and pieces. So this is kind of neat. There's still a whole bunch left out here, and it was really solid blue underneath. So you don't see much of the gold on here, even though it's behind it. And so there's a little bit of gold hint. You don't see a whole lot. And so if I were to put something gold or metallic on it now, it would pick up with the gold prominent in the middle and still have that dark blue around the outside edges. Okay, so while this one is continuing to dry, I'm going to give it a minute to continue to dry. Let's try something else. Let's use, I'm looking down here at a couple stencils. So the easiest mark making thing to gather is circles. If you look around, you've got lots of circles. I have a container that's just labeled circles, and I put everything, all things circles in it. For example, this was the top. I left the sponge in it because sometimes I like the texture of the sponge, but this was just the top of a pack of washi. This was the inside of a tape roll. No, not this one. This one was a cap, a lid to something. I have another one that looks just like it that's cardboard and was the inside of a tape roll. Let's see what else is back here. This is a larger cap, you know, hairspray or something. I don't know what it was. Another cap that I don't even remember what it came from, but as long as I can, you know, make a circle on this side, I could make a fat circle. But all these are just circles of different sizes. So I have pill bottle lids because they come in all different sizes. So anything that can make a circle. So get a little container and just start throwing in anything that circles. When you finish your glue stick, keep the lid. The lid is a circle, and it might be a size that I don't already have in there. If I finish one of these, I can keep this because there's another circle and it's a small one. So if I'm using a small gel plate, I've got small circles. I've got some little teeny caps to things that are small circles. Firmer you make it, the better when you're making your own. That's awesome. You can leave it on for a week. Yes, absolutely. That's a cool stencil, huh, Chris? I really like that one. Okay, so I'm gonna do this metallic red. We've already got red on here, and there's a little bit of red residue. So this is a very different color red than that, but it is still in the red family. If I can get it open, it's kind of glued shut with paint. Come on. Don't have my strength back yet after surgery, and so that's a little tough. Whoop. And it spurted as we did. So let's see. All right, just dig the fingers in. Let's get the paint off of here. Grab a baby wipe or a art towel. See that there's a lot of paint in that lid from previous even. So I don't mind getting some paint on my fingers, but I don't want them to be completely covered with paint or wet with paint while I'm trying to do stuff, because then I'm just transferring colors that maybe I don't want on this one or that one. Okay, so let's get some of this metallic. This one's almost gone too. Yay! I've got so many that are close to being empty that I just need to, that is just hanging on by a thread. So I'm just going to do that. We can probably use this one up today. Okay, that's not even, did that come off? Not so much. Whoop! All right, I'm going to say that that is probably plenty. So let's roll out this metallic red. I'm thinking I wish I had done a solid color first to pick up this stencil. I'm going to do it with, I'm going to do it with this one. Sorry, changing my mind. I'm going to try not to brayer this all off and keep some of that because I know I'm running short on that paint. I'm going to put this stencil of roses down here and grab a piece of paper and see if I can pick up. I'm trying to do this quickly because I don't want it to, well, it's going to anyway. So I'm just going to brayer that off onto here. That metallic red behind that blue or in the middle of that blue will be really pretty. Okay. I just don't want that to build up on my brayer any more than it already is. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is just pick up the roses in the spaces, that metallic red. So I was thinking that I wish I had already done a solid color that I could then put over the top of this and pick that up on top of a solid. It's pretty even as is. And then when I pick this up, then I still should have the rose pattern still on there. And I need to let that one dry for a minute. Let's go back over to this one. I have forgotten what was, oh yeah, the dark blue Ceruleo is what that was called. And we did the gold on top of it. Well, we did the placemat. The placemat made texture. I don't have room to pull it off, roll it off back there. So I'm going to go ahead and start at this end as well and roll it towards me. I'm trying to get those grungy edges up. So if I come over here and grab them, a lot of them will come up. Okay, so there's that dark blue with the placemat markings and then gold behind it. That's cool. I like that one. And in that situation, I really like the metallic being the second layer so that the metallic is showing through the blue. And we still have this one that we could do something metallic on top of it to see the difference there, the contrast. Okay, so this one is the roses. We've got the positive and the negative of the roses. And I think I'm going to try to do a gold. I'll use this one. I'm going to do a gold over the top of that. See if we can get us a good print of those roses. I've got a little bit of gold behind that red on there. And there we go. Press that one down. Deshelle, are you doing it? Are you doing it with your gel plate? I didn't put that on very straight, so I'm going to have a bigger edge over here than over here. That's okay. A lot of times I will either trim these up or doodle around the edges if I'm going to use them as pages, or tear them up and use them for collage. Okay, I'm going to let this one sit for 5 minutes, but I want to make sure that it's sticking everywhere, which is why I'm just going over it and over it. Don't have to push hard, just steadily and firmly. So I did pull a magazine, pull some pages out to try image transfer today. A lot of you have seen the image transfer. I've done it in the past, but it's honestly been probably a couple of years since I've done image transfer. And I know that it is, the first time I did it was accidental. So I can't even say that the first time I did it, I knew what I was doing. It was purely accidental, and it turned out so cool. And it was not by talent, it was accident. So it does work. And you've probably seen lots of videos of people doing transfers. And that's another one of those things that people will do it 5 times. And if it only works 1 or 2 of the times, those are the only videos that they show you. So you might try it 5 times and it might not work the first 4 times. Then it works the 5th time. But don't stop. Don't think, oh, I can't do it. You know, works perfectly for everybody else. It just doesn't work for me. That's why I do it with you, in front of you, so that you can see how it works or doesn't work. And, you know, we can try different things with it. So we're at Happy Paper People. We are not about the perfect video. We are about the creativity and the learning along the way. And the only way we learn is by seeing what doesn't work or didn't work. So I'm going to see if I can get some of these up here, and we'll use this one for image transfer. Actually, let's see if this is any cleaner. Oh, this one's not clean at all. It's got lots of grungies. Lots of grungies on it. Okay. So, okay, that's okay. Well, let's try image transfer with grungies. Maybe they will add some cool texture in it if they pull up with it. That would be okay. We'll let this one sit for a minute to make sure it's adhered. So, all right, when you're choosing images for image transfer out of a magazine, we know that the bigger the contrast, the better they will work. So the black and white. Gray is okay, but the more black and white there is, the better it's going to work. So some of these have other colors in them. I don't know how they'll work with those other colors, but we're going to try them. This might be a good one to start with. You do this one on a small plate. That's nice and black and white. That one is too. That's a good, just black and white. So anything that has high contrast, you know, the dark and the light, the darker the better. The higher the contrast, the better. That's probably the first difficulty I see with people trying image transfer, is getting things that don't have a high enough contrast. You know, neutral colors, or the colors are too, just not enough contrast. Best way to say it, just not enough contrast. So let's try this lady here. Learning, 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 having fun while learning. Exactly. Deshelle, I'm so glad you're doing it. No worries, Margie. We know you'll be back. All right, I am going to start with black. I'm going to lay down a thin layer of black. And with image transfer, thin is the operative word. Get the little crusty out of the lid there. Okay, thin layer of black is the operative word, thin. So I think it's that empty. I can always add a little more if I need to, so I'm going to try to not go overboard on the paint. I'll set that aside, and I can add more. I've got a little bit bigger brayer here. This is an 8-inch brayer. That would help me if I want to get a really thin layer and do it quickly. I can cover more space. Almost feels too thick. And I thought I was putting it down pretty thin. What you want is thin enough that you can almost see through it. It's kind of hard to tell in this light, but I'm going to go with that and hope that that is thin enough. We'll find out. If not, we'll do it again. All right, so the image that I want, the high contrast one, I'm going to put that face down. Oh, look at that. That'd be cool, that bunny. There's a lot of color in there, but it might work. I could do that on a small plate and just try that. You can use both sides of this, so you can really only use a print once. So if you've got something that you really like, that you really want to work, don't use that for your first try or your testers. Do it a few times with pictures, images you find in the magazine that you don't really care about, to see what works, what doesn't work, how much paint, too much, too little paint, all those things. So you want to put this down, and we're just rubbing it gently. And that's because we want the page to pick up the black paint. We want it to pick up the black paint wherever there's black paint on the page, and then leave. And I'm having a hard time telling. I don't know if you can see it. We might not know until we go to pick it up. So we're just going to go on the assumption that we hope that works. We hope that we're going to get a good contrast there. And we can use multiple colors on this one to pick up. We could use, let's see, I want something that contrasts with that black. Powder blush, maybe up here, and maybe a raspberry down here. And maybe even a little darker pink down here, a magenta down here on the bottom, just a little magenta in. Whoa, that is not a little magenta. Whoo-wee. All right. I don't want that much magenta. Sorry if the finger just makes you squirm because you don't like your fingers in paint, but I'm just going to take it right off there and put it onto another plate. Easy enough. I can still use it. It's just sitting there in a glob on that plate. Let's see if I adjust this a little, if you can see better of that. Okay, so let's get this rolled out. Start with this pink up here. And that is probably not quite enough. A little more, but not too much. There we go. Let's see if that works. Okay. Then we'll move into this pink. Want them to overlap and kind of ombre effect. Okay. Now our paper. All right. Valentino with rabbit ears. I like to transfer the print, the words, great contrast, and can make for interesting background. Yes, a page full of words that are black and white. That looks really cool. And that's a great background to do other things on. Really good point. Much paint, ink, color, glue, stuff I have on my hands. Sorry, my kitten decided I need help type it right. Oh, my husband judges my art happiness by how much paint, ink, color, glue, stuff I have on my hands. Yes, absolutely. The more my hands are in it, the more I'm going to be relaxed, and it's like meditation. Some people do yoga, other people do art. It's all good for our psyche. Absolutely, most definitely. I prefer the shoes. I still have my mom's Valentino's. Wow. Don't dare wear them now. I will fall down right. Wear gloves. That is totally okay. That is totally okay, Sylvia. Some people don't like the feel of paint on their fingers or want to keep them clean. That's all right. I need to feel what I'm doing on my fingers, and the gloves get in the way. But there are times when I use gloves. There are times when I've tried to use gloves. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for a minute, and I'm going to come back to this one that should be dry now. Do you remember what we had under here? It's the opposite of the roses, the rose stencil. Okay, I'm going to flip it around so I have room to pull it back. So that I hadn't thought about this. When I use the metallic red, I can see it. You probably can't see it quite as well, but it's not a super great contrast. It's more of a muted background. What I hadn't thought about was this was a metallic red, and then I used a metallic gold. The two metallics are not going to give that great contrast. So if I had done it with a solid red, matte red, and then the gold metallic, that would have been a much better contrast on that. All right, so I'm going to put those up. I'm still going to decide what I want to do with that one. I feel like I want to do something more, but not quite sure what yet. All right, so I want this one to have plenty of time to pick that up, adhere really well. Don't know how much it needs. I'm going to give it another couple minutes just in case. Meanwhile, I'm going to pick up this magenta. Try to pick up this magenta. And it's picking up some of the other colors that are underneath it. That's okay too, because I like multiple colors, honestly. That's where you get cool texture and grunge. Not everybody likes that, and I respect that. I do like the unknown. Gel printing is one of those things where I love the unknown. I love stuff like this, where I got some of that black, and I don't really know exactly what I'm going to get on this pole. So let's start with that as a background. That would make a beautiful pumpkin. Yes, you've done a lot of food handling, catering. So you don't do anything without gloves. So that makes perfect sense. That would make a really beautiful pumpkin. Yes. You filled your July with Christmas, and you are probably Christmased out, at least for a couple months, ready for fall. Definitely ready for fall. Okay. So we're going to let this one sit for a minute to make sure that is dry. And let's see what we get with our image transfer. Keep your fingers crossed that we get that. Was that a Giorgio Armani lady? There were several ads there. I don't remember specifically which one she was. The pink is coming up nicely. Okay. I'm going to flip this over and try peeling back the gel plate. I feel like if I do that, I can see a little bit better if any of the paint is sticking or paper starts to tear. Must turn it around. Look at all these crusties that came off the edge. Didn't stick to the paper, but came off the edge. It's because the paper wasn't white enough. This is something that I will keep. I will set it aside. I have a little dish of them. And then when I'm making art, art journal and things like that, I will just pick those up and glue them on. And they just make really cool little additions on something where you've painted or you're coloring or on top of a paper, an art journal, if you're doing collaging. Okay, so let's see Let's see if we can see our lady. Can you see her? Yep, there she is. She looks like she has a very heart-shaped face after the poll. Her eyes, her nose, her mouth, there's her ear, there's her shoulders. And there's the Giorgio Armani right there. Didn't show up super well. Interesting. If I look away and I look back, I see it even better. Not the greatest, though. I mean, I would not call that the greatest transfer. Not the greatest image transfer. It worked, but, not, it was successful, but it wasn't, I'm not thrilled with it. Fill it in with markers. Yes. Yes, you can go back with gel pens or with markers, with Posca pens, anything with metallic, whatever. And you can draw out her features as they are right there. That's a great idea, Sylvia. Okay, so let's pull this one. This is just a background. We got that fuchsia off the plate. We know we got a little bit of black from the plate with it. Cool. It's a nice, good start to a grungy page. So that's a good background start. All right, let's try another image transfer. I'm thinking that maybe there was too much black. So let's start with a lighter layer of black. I mean, it's all trial and error. All trial and error to see how much it takes, how little. I mean, the key on the image transfer for sure is, I should have pulled my image first that I was going to use. The key is how little can you get away with using. Okay, that was a lot less right there. So quickly, I need an image. Let's try this lady. It'd be cool if that transfers. There's a lot of blue around there. So I don't know, but we'll try it. It's trial and error. So when we put this paper down, we don't want to leave it down too long when we putting the image down, because we want the image to pick up that paint. And if we wait for it to dry, it's not going to pick it up. So all we want is for the paper to pick up the paint where it's dark and leave us that image. I can see a lot of it. Let's find out here. Okay, so how about we do a little, let's see. That raspberry was nice and soft. How about we could do a lavender? Let's do a lavender up top and a purple a little farther down as a background. I don't know what colors to do in the background. You can do any colors you want. Sunset colors are pretty. Okay, there's lavender and there's a dark purple. Try to get that crusty thing out there. Otherwise, it'll just it'll come out with the paint and then it'll be stuck in my paint and then into my gel plate. I'll just have to pull it out. Okay, let's see if that's enough. Hopefully. Oh, shoot, I meant to do the lighter one first. It's all right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to roll some of that off and come over here and do the lighter one. I do want them to mix, but I try to put down the lighter one first and then do the darker one and bring it over the top. Let them mix it a little bit like that. Okay. A purple pumpkin. A purple purple pumpkins are pretty. Sylvia, you really need to post in the group that pumpkin that you made because it is gorgeous. Which magazines work the best? I know some work and some don't. I just must have all the ones that don't work. You know, Carrie, that's really a good question because I've heard people say only this, and this magazine work and this one don't. And I've heard people say National Geographics are great, but only if they're before this year because then they change their ink. And so that doesn't work. And other people have said National Geographics are great, but only if they're after this year because of the changing. So I don't know if there is, I don't know. It's so hard to say. I think I just got this Vogue from my doctor's office that I went to last week. First time I'd seen Vogue in a long time. And I asked him, do you have any old ones that I could just take a couple? Because they usually have a lot of black and white advertisements. And what I was looking for was the black and white, the high contrast, not necessarily a particular magazine, but I know that they'll have a lot of contrast. So I think that I would be more looking at and concerned about the high contrast of black and white than I would about the particular magazine. I've done it with Nat Geo, and they work well. I've had good success with those. The first one that I did accidentally was actually a page out of a book. It had some cool pictures in it. And actually, I put the picture down. I think I was trying to do the image transfer, and it didn't work. But I pulled it up, cleaned the plate, and then went back and pulled something else. And the cowboy on the horse that was in the picture showed up in my next pull. So maybe there was just too much, I didn't really know what I was doing. So maybe I had too much paint down. And by the time I got all that off, he stayed on the plate. And then he showed up in the next pull. It was really astounding and very cool. But, and that was just a book that had like Old West pictures, but it was and then I did something else and it had the Capitol building on it. So then when I pulled it, when he showed up, I had the cowboy on the horse in front of the state Capitol building or the country Capitol building. I don't remember which one, but that was such a cool contrast because in his picture, he was out in the middle of the desert. And then you had the Capitol building right in the middle of the city. And so to get that image with him on there was very cool. I know I've still got it. I just don't know where it is. Sylvia, that's such a great idea. That's a great idea. 2 bundt pans put together, make a great pumpkin. That rusty teapot's going to be really cool too. Okay, so all I did was put down a stencil, and I wasn't thinking because I should have just pulled it up with this one and I would have had the purple shapes on the fuchsia, but can do that again. So here I've got the stencil still down there. Let's see, do I have something else that needs, do you think the purple will show up on this? No, probably not because that dark blue is so dark. What would be cool with this is kind of cool. It's kind of black and purple together. It's a lavender. It's not too dark. What color is really good with a lavender? Raspberry? A yellow? How about a yellow? Pink? That cowboy was so cool, Glennis. I cannot take credit for knowing what I was doing. It just was so cool. Pink. Okay. How about raspberry? I got raspberry right here. Let's try that. The raspberry is not too dark, not too light. Just right. I do have some light pink there. If it needs to be lighter, or actually there's that fuchsia or magenta that would be darker. Okay, so let's go. All new sheet. The reason I like to, when I'm first sitting down to do it, is to just do a bunch of pulls of just solid colors, is because then I end up with bases, backgrounds. So when I put a stencil down, I can use a background to pick it up like this, and it starts building layers on that background. And if I don't have those, a stack of those right here on hand, or I don't think about it because I'm talking to you, then I end up doing it on paper like this. And there's ways to use this, and it looks cool. I would have liked to put that onto a background. So then now I have to think about what to add to this that won't just completely cover that up, but still add some dimension, some texture, some layers. So maybe one of the things that I could do is do that same stencil in a different color. And then after I pick it up, try to put this down in the exact same spot and pick up the surrounding part of the stencil in a different color. That might be a possibility. All right, I'm going to let that one sit for a minute, and let's come back here. What did we? This was an image transfer, right? Oh, come on. Let's get Our Lady. Nope, she worked. I really like the ones where you get like some skyline, some city buildings or something, skyline, and then the person or whatever the subject matter is. So it's a whole scene. It's always look cool. And maybe part of it is just trial and error with different colors of paint. Who knows? Maybe because I started wearing the dark purple before the light purple, I got too much dark in there and not enough light. That is a possibility. So you can see the outline of the lady. I really can't see her face. So in my mind, this was not a successful image transfer. I do see some of the buildings. This was a big window that she was in front of, and around the building, around the window, there was a lot of blue. So I can see the window that she's standing in front of. I can see some skyline back there, buildings and things. And I can actually see just a little bit of the face before her in the background. And I can see her outline there, but I can't really see her face. Someone tell Sylvia to stop. Bust off the black light. That's might work. That might work. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to put gold down. Is this a good gold for that one? Yeah, why not? I'm going to put gold down over here. And when I know I'm going to pull through the stencil, I don't mind having a slightly thicker layer, partly so that there's enough to pull through the stencil before it all dries, and partly so that when I pick up the stencil itself, there is still wet paint underneath it. Okay, so I'm going to use that same stencil. And I'm going to use the blue one. Purple and gold is pretty. There's paint on this one. But I'm going to use the blue to pick up that stencil in gold. That should add some good texture, some layers. Then what's cool is you could go back and doodle in, because Sylvia's got my brain on doodling, because she's always saying doodle that. Can go back and doodle in each of those little stencil pockets, each of those designs, because they're plenty big to do a whole design in. Carrie does some beautiful doodling. In fact, this might be cool to doodle all the way around the outside in black and then doodle inside these in white. That would make a cool hand-drawn piece. Okay, here we go. They almost look like Christmas ornaments, don't they? That's cool. Perfect series. I need to get some fluorescent paints that actually fluoresce and lots of black and make a whole bunch of jelly prints for glow under. You know, that I have some fluorescent paints. Carrie, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought about that. I love, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a crisp line around each one of these. I love that crisp line. So we've got the blue on the gold, or the gold on the blue. And now let's decide what color. We can still do something with that. We've still got this one. We could, but actually we could use a whole separate one because we have to put a pickup color. So what color do you want with the gold? Journal by Black Light. Wow. See, that's why I love hanging out with you guys. Many minds are more creative than one. Or get some of my best ideas is taking all the creativity from all of your minds and pulling it together. That's hilarious. Could add black veins for leaves. Great idea. Great idea. Okay. This pulled up some of the purple from previous. That's really interesting. Oh, this one had, yeah, it had some block on it already with the black. And okay, so what color do you want with the gold? Yes. Shanika, absolutely. Join us in the Happy Paper People Facebook group. It's a private group. Just go in and request to join, answer the 3 questions. I'll get you in right away. And then we really, really want everybody to share their polls from today's session. It is so much fun. Definitely Happy Paper People with Marianne and on Facebook. Please, please join us there and post them. We love seeing them. Ideas for color with gold. What would you like with gold? Let's see. What color haven't we used? We've used blue and gold. We've used red and gold. This is metallic, so probably not a metallic. There's a burgundy. There is a brick red. White, different shades of purple, different shades of turquoise and teal and blue. Lots of different blues. Kelly green, black. Ooh, Kelly green. Let's see if I have a Kelly green out. I may not. This one's too, this is Dutch aqua. That's really light. This is turquoise. That is not Kelly green. Hang on, I can dig right here into the paint bucket. It's a whole huge bin. There's leaf green. That seems a little light. Still digging. That one is black. Dark green. Is that too dark? Kelly green is lighter than that. Hang on. There's lots of them here. Nature green. Lots to choose from. Leaf green is too light. Aqua. Petroleum green, that's darker, but again, that's not Kelly. Kelly or close to Kelly is what we are looking for. That's the turquoise. All right, we might not have a Kelly green right there. I have used a lot of them up and have not replenished. I'm trying to use up all these ones. Oh, wait, what's this one? Holiday green. That might be closer. There's a moss green, avocado, turquoise. All right, we might have to choose from these. One more little dig down there. Oh, there's some glitter paint. Okay, so we've got nature green, petroleum green. That's really dark. Dark green, that's pretty dark too. Nature green or holiday green? Holiday green is probably closer to Kelly, isn't it? Looking for a book about steampunk. Ooh. Wow, Margie. Oh, that's yeah, I gotcha. Holiday green will work. Okay. Holiday green it is. Let me give it a little shake. Shaky shake. I really like saffron, and I used it up. I didn't go down and get any more. I've got this corn I'm going to try to use up. And this actually is school bus yellow, but it's brighter than a little. Well, the saffron's pretty bright. It's just got, I don't know, just a little hint of something else in it. I really like saffron and brick red together. I'm going to have to go down and get more saffron. All right, let's get this holiday green on here. Getting the crusties off the paint lid so they don't just fall in. This one obviously hasn't been used in a while. Scrape that off. Okay. Got it. Ooh, that will be pretty. Ooh. Not much on the last squirt there. Oh, it seems a little translucent. Interesting. Not super solid. I can see through it. You can see through that too, I bet. Yeah. Trying to get over to that edge. All right. Paper. There we go. Give that a nice rub down. That'll be really pretty. I don't remember using that green, but it may come up translucent, which might be really cool. Or we might look at it and say, well, it really needs some solid color in there. So, okay, we'll get that rubbed down and then let it sit for a few minutes and attach, dry. The longer it dries, the more it can attach to paper. When you pull the paper up, the paint in the middle between the paper and the plate, the paint has to stick to one side or the other. And so it's pretty stuck on the plate, and the plate being that gel, silicone type stuff is, going to hold on to it really nicely. So what you have to do is just allow enough time for that paint to be able to adhere to the paper as well as it is adhered to the gel plate, so that when you peel it back, it will stick to the paper, not the plate. All right, I'm going to do some of that. Let me grab my stencils back here. Wonder. I'm going to see if I can get whatever is left in this corn And if I need more, mix it with school bus. I don't know how much is left here. That might be enough. This is how we get all the paint out when it has a nice big opening. You ever do that with lotion? You're pounding it against your hand, moving it around, getting all the little bits of lotion out. And pretty soon there's enough to cover your whole hands. All right, we use that corn up. One big blob up there was more than enough. Yeah, probably didn't need all of that. It's tough when I get to the end of it. I don't want to put the lid back on because I know there isn't enough to do a whole nother one. But yet it was more than I needed for this one. Okay. So I am going to take some of these leaves. And these are just plastic leaves. Actually, real leaves would work much better. It did not take time to go out and grab any real leaves. And these were sitting here in my mark making bin. So I'm going to use the plastic ones. I'm not going to leave it there. Might not get a good impression because I might have too much paint. Could also try the back side, which would give better veins, but because these aren't flat, that's why I'm not leaving them there. I'm just pressing them down to try to get the image. If I take my hand off it, it's just going to pop up and move around because it's not flat. They're pretty stiff. Okay. Can't get up to that point with my finger. I touch the paint next to it and then I don't get a clear point on the leaf. May not get a clear point anyway, but it's an attempt. So I did it up there and put my finger. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on that one. What's nice is when you just get a swipe of color and then you keep doing that and you have 4, 5, 6 different colors all with one swipe. So when you pick it up, you actually get them all. Okay, and I'm going to do one more leaf over here. Going this way. And now I just had a thought. I kind of wish I had put down the red first, like brick red, because I'm going to do a moon or a sun, but maybe it'll end up looking like a blood moon. That would be really cool. See, these are the things that you just play with. Just grab things that'll make marks and play with them. I'm going to take my little circle, just a little circle gel plate, and I'm going to come up here, maybe up here, and I'm going to put that on. It's kind of getting already dry, but what I'm trying to do is pick up some of that paint. I should have done that first, maybe while it was still wet, but I'm trying to pick up some of that paint right there. Some. not a little. If I want more, I could just rub some of it away. In fact, I think I'll do that. And I got the outline of the circle right there. So, okay, so I know where to go. And moons aren't perfect anyway. You don't get the perfect outline. And I don't want all the yellow gone. I just want some. Moon, sun, whatever it ends up looking like, that's okay by me. Okay. Then I'm going to take the darker color. Do I have a brick red? Yeah, an almost gone brick red. Or this cookie might be nice. It's just a little bit wet on a couple spots, so we'll give that just a minute. And I'm going to put the brick red over the top of it. Oh, I love ferns. Maple leaves are great too. Autocrypt is alive and well. Yes. Oranges and brick red. Yes, yellows and brick red are great. Oranges and brick red. They really are a nice combination for fall. And walk outside and pick up whatever leaves or ferns or, anything that weeds. Weeds are great. You put your, in fact, I should have got, well, I've got a yard full of green, a huge yard full of green. I didn't even think to go out and get any. Because you put your paint down, and then I would lay all the weeds down, or the leaves, or whatever it is, and then put the paper on top of it and rub the paper over it. We really need to do that. I'm gonna go out and get some and do that after we finish, and then I will post that picture. Well, that is fascinating. That green looked so transparent, and it almost overtook the gold. It almost overtook the gold. You can still see the design and you can see the perfect cutout. So I think that this would be really pretty with a gold pen or gold paint, hand drawn, to finish this design and outline the design. I can still see the perfect outlines of each one of those, cutouts in the stencil. I'm a little disappointed how the green overtook the gold, because I thought the green it looked really transparent. But that metallic gold apparently is pretty transparent. So interesting. Okay, so now let's go back to this one. I forgot to pull the crusties off the lid. That's why. I know there's some still left in here. Maybe there's not much. Maybe there's not as much as I thought. I don't want to scrape away paint as I'm doing this. Come on, anything that's left. Nope, there's nothing left. Okay, so I'm not going to dig out another one of those, because there is one, because I have that cinnamon stick. I think that's probably just a little bit darker. That's Pueblo, might be slightly lighter. That's Cookie, that is more brown. I'm going to try this Pueblo, is pretty darn close. Ooh, yeah, that's really close. I'm going to try that. And if they're mixed, that's totally fine. Oh, that would make beautiful pumpkins, Sylvia. Pueblo. I don't know what that color is. It looks just like a Pueblo. This, you can see that this gel plate has a lot of divots and defects from different things over the years. Okay. All right, and I'm going to give this one 5 minutes to adhere because I really want to get all of those leaf images up. And I hope that I can get that sun or moon. Not sure what it's going to look like yet. Maybe moon. Bye, Melanie. Thank you for posting what you've made. Love, love, love having you do it. And love going in there and seeing everybody else's posts of all the things that you made during this period of time. Actually, I am watching the time, and I did not say this up front that we would do 2 hours today instead of 1. It's really hard when you start gel printing to just do an hour and stop because you just barely get going. Thanks for being here. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get into that drawing in just a moment. We're approaching 2 hours anyway, so good time. In fact, let's let that sit. Pull something on that. We'll let this one sit a minute while we get the drawing set up. Things out my way there. I don't remember if there was anything left in that metallic red or not. It is lots of fun. It is a lot of fun, Patty. It's so addictive. Okay, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I have Margie, Jill, Chris, Carrie, Sylvia, and Patty. Did I miss anybody? Well, there's still a couple of techniques that I wanted to try to show you, but we've got more days. Okay, Margie, Jill, Chris, Carrie, Sylvia, and Patty. All right, perfect. And I'll come back to that screen in just a minute so that you can tell me if I missed anybody. I tried to write them down as they showed up so that it would save some time here. All right, getting them in multiple times. All right, let me come back to StreamYard. Okay, did I get everyone? Any more addictions? I know. Oh, it's an all day or an all week thing, right? Carrie, you get it set up, you get everything out, you got all this paint out, you just have to do a whole bunch of it. It's hard to get all set up and then only do it an hour. This lesson has taken away my fear of the gel play. Oh, the shell, I am so excited. I am so happy. It's just that first time. It's just getting in there, doing it that first time. Yeah, Carrie, I knew at least a couple of weeks, but I didn't know a month. That's awesome. My dream is to have a table that's just set up with gel printing all the time. All the time. There we go. Okay, are we ready? I have shared the screen now. I have a really big lag, so I'm going to watch YouTube, not StreamYard. Cross your fingers, cross your toes, say all your good luck things because here it goes. Wow. She's a poet and doesn't know it. Oh, Patty, you haven't tried it? Oh, you got to try it. You got to try it. Awesome. Margie is today's winner. Way to go, Margie. Congratulations. Congrats me. Yes, that is awesome. And I have one package that is packed with a bunch of teeny tinies. Because a lot of times when I make the things on Monday Jumpstart, we try to make a teeny tiny version, all in honor of Margie, because she really got me hooked on teeny tinies. So congratulations, Margie. That's awesome. Thank you for always being such a support and for starting off the super chat. All right. Let's see how our leaves are doing here. Probably could sit longer, but we're going to try it anyway. Nope. Paper started to tear. Keep it this time. Awesome. Oh. Oh, okay. Never mind. I was going to say that means I have to open up your package and put it in, but I can't do that because the package is weighed and the label is according to the weight. So I've got another thing that it can go in. Not a problem. Teeny tinies. I know all the cute teeny tinies for Margie. We love teeny tinies. I've become a teeny tiny fan because of Margie. All right. So I really wish I had gotten some weeds or something, but I didn't. So let me show you something while waiting for this to dry. Show you a technique with, you can do this with any size. I'll just use the smaller one because the space here might be a little easier. And I'm going to use a half a sheet of paper because I don't need a full sheet with that. This is like the 5x7. Okay. And I'm going to fit it to where it would be on there. And then I'm going to tape it down. So I'm just getting some artist tape, painter's tape, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to tape that right there. Okay. What that does is allow me to pick it up, do something, get the print, pick it up, do something else, put it back down, and keep it in the exact same spot for layering. So I'm going to start with a base color. Let me do a now I'm thinking about what color we want to do. Want to do that with, let's see. I'm going to use a high contrast just to show you how this works. Hang on a minute. I'm thinking in my mind because we're doing the layers, so I got to think about which. Oh, my mind just went blank. What order do I want these colors to be in the layers? Because this is slightly different than when you layer them on the plate and then pick it up. This when you're layering on your paper. So if I want to, I'm going to start with a blue. Let's just get this is a powder blue. That'll work. Not too dark. And remember, I don't need as much paint because this is a much smaller plate. So let's start. This is just a light blue. I have a general light blue. I'm going to put the paper down. And I'm going to pick up the light blue. Don't want my tape to move, even while I'm rubbing on the paper. I want to be able to put it down in the exact same spot. So I can build a picture, basically. I can build the painting. There's a live somewhere in YouTube here that we did. It's been a couple of years, maybe even 3 years. I don't even remember since I did it, but basically sat down with an 8x10 gel plate and painted the scene on it in layers. And so when I pulled it up, you could see that the trees were in the foreground, and behind them were this, and behind them were that, you know, the people, and then the buildings, and then the pickup layer. And you can just paint literally with a paintbrush and your paints. You can paint right onto your gel plate and paint your scene. So this is a way to create a scene, just layering it on the paper instead of layering it on the gel plate. All right, so our first layer is a light blue, not solid because there was a lot of grungies left on this plate from previous, which is okay by me. Okay, and I want to make sure my tape stays down there. All right, I'm going to try to get up a couple of these little things that got stuck down in divots. Okay, then I'm going to take a stencil. This one might work. Might be a little bit big, but it'll work. This feather, yeah, that would work. It's probably better size, but I'm gonna try this. All right, so I'm going to put down. I'd like to get this whole leaf branch on there, but well, maybe I can. It'll just go all the way up to the top. It's pretty big. Ideally, I'd love to have that just be a little bit smaller, but that's okay. All right, so I'm setting the stencil down, and I'm going to use a really dark green in the stencil, and in the stencil only. And what I don't want is to get this portion of the stencil over here. I just want that one. So I'm just going to cover this with a piece of tape just to make sure I don't accidentally brayer over that and put green on. Trying to show you just a really simple version of layering and building your scene on the paper instead of the gel plate. So I'm going to use a small brayer for this one. I could have put this onto my roll-off plate. That would have worked really well. I'll get to the top of that. You could also just use a brush, a paintbrush for this. Might even be easier. So I want to get the whole image, but I'm also trying not to push it hard enough that it goes underneath the stencil, because I would like as clean an image as possible there. I don't want that corner, but I would love to get the tip of that. You push hard, you push paint underneath the stencil, and I'm trying not to do that. No guarantees. Okay, and then I pick that up. And if you need to clean anything up, you can. You could get a paintbrush and clean it up, or just, not. In fact, I'm going to remove this tape, and I'm going to turn this over. There's a lot of paint on this stencil. I'm going to turn it over and put it on my brayer off one. And it should just leave paint around that stencil image. But before this dries, I want my paper back down, because I want to pick this up while it's wet. I don't want it to dry. I'm building the layers on my paper, and so I need to I put it on the plate while it's wet, pick it up on the paper. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. So I really wanted to pick up all of that dark green. I want that to be kind of like a shadow in the sky. Oh, not a lot of that brayered off, but that's all right. There'll be a little bit there. It'll give some faint shadow on that one. Okay, it still feels a little wet, so I'm going to give it just a minute. And then I'm going to, I could use a circle. I have this little gel plate here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this. And I'm going to use this to put a moon up here. And so I have to think about the blue that it is on. That's kind of a day sky, so it might end up being like a sun. Could have used a darker blue, but I wanted the contrast of the dark shadow of the fern or whatever it is, up there against it. A tree, like a pine tree, even taking your paintbrush and painting a pine tree right there would have been cool and really dark. And then, so maybe I want not just a yellow, but maybe a combination of a white and yellow, or maybe just a white. Get a little bit of white here. Maybe. I'm glad I found all these ones that are almost gone, so I can try to use them up, and then I can open new ones. This one is called Milk White. Nothing is coming out. Of course, that might just be clogged because I can tell that there is stuff in there. Okay, that is Milk White. And I'm thinking that maybe I will just add a tiny bit of yellow in with it and just kind of mix them together. I have more yellow than needed. It's a much lighter yellow than the yellow or just plain white. Okay, so now let's see if we've got our leaf. There we go. All right, then we're going to come up here and we're going to place our moon. So all we're doing is transferring paint. We just put paint where we wanted it, where we want to layer it on this picture. But it gives a different, there we go, that looks cool. It gives a different outcome on your picture than if you had just painted it straight onto the paper. It looks like a paint transfer. You can doodle on the gel plate, yes. Posca pens are great. You can just sit down because all they are is acrylic paint, and that's what we're using is acrylic paint. So you could sit down with Posca pens and you can doodle, you can draw. So if you doodle all over it and then you take your solid backgrounds and pick it all up, that looks really cool. Or draw a whole scene, draw anything you want on the gel plate and pick it up. Just let it dry. It dries fast anyway while you're doodling something else. What you just did is, dries very quickly. You could use watercolor paint or liquid watercolor works better. Anything that is water-based, and I say that loosely because you can use alcohol ink. You can use anything you want on the gel plate. Alcohol ink works great. Alcohol ink will stain. But honestly, over time, everything stains. They don't stay that pristine clear. When you watch the videos from the companies, they pull out a new gel plate every time they shoot the video. And you can see they're pulling it right out of the package. So they don't stay looking like that. Even if you clean them every single time, they don't stay that pristine, clear color. But just be aware that if you use alcohol ink, it will stain right away from using it. There we go. So now we could go in there and draw a little animal. We could do, in fact, maybe we need more of these. Another one right here and another one right here. So we're looking through the weeds. A little rabbit or bunny or something right here, next to it under the moon. So you could just, wherever you want it, draw it right here and then put this back down and pick it up. But that's how you can create an entire scene on the paper instead of on the plate. But I still like the looks of it better than if I had painted it right on the plate. And I like the distressed look of the moon because that's what it really actually looks like. Moons are not perfect. And if I'm painting it, it's too perfect. I can't get that look. So that is cool. That's a fun one to do. A cat. You could put a little cat down here underneath there. Actually, I probably shouldn't have picked up my tape, but this is a small enough plate that I probably can get it lined up and put it down in the exact same place. So if I add a cat or if I add another little branch, I have to turn it over this way and I'll get a little branch that's going this direction where I'm only seeing part of it, and then put the little cat down on this side. That would be really cute. Yeah. So yeah, all kinds of things that you can do there. Let's do marbling paper sometime soon. Okay. Which way do you want to marble? Alcohol ink, nail polish, acrylic paint, alcohol ink. Let's say probably alcohol ink. What do you think? Although acrylic paint watered down, so it's much runnier, so you can put it in the water, get some better movement, so that when you pick it up, when you pull it out, that you don't have just big globs of acrylic paint, because that's what you get. Shaving cream. Didn't we do that recently, or has it been a long time? Any way that works. Yeah, alcohol ink, acrylic paint, watercolor ink. I have some liquid watercolor ink. That would actually, I have liquid acrylic ink. Liquid acrylic ink. I think that's what it is. And watercolor ink. And I have not used them yet for marbling. So we might, yeah, okay. Nail polish is awesome. Yes, we've done a lot with nail polish in shaving cream and in water, both. There are YouTube videos. Guys, there are hundreds of videos over the past, 6 years or so. We have done every week. We've done Saturday Night Lives. We've been doing Monday Jumpstart for a couple of years. We have had at least one live a week for that entire time. Some years we had really great times where we were able to have 2 or 3 lives a week. We have so many things in there. If you go into our YouTube channel and Happy Paper People, and then just try searching for something very simple, search nail polish or search marbling or, gel print, or just search gel, G-E-L. Try to always put those important words in the title so that if you're going in to search for it, you can put in gel and it should pull up just in Happy Paper People channel 20, 30, 40 times that we've just done gel printing, because they're all different. They're all different. And there have been times where we had 3 or 4 or 5 of us on the panel, all gel printing for this at the same time for a couple of hours, or maybe 4 or 5 hours. And everybody's doing something different. And those are great because you get a chance to see different techniques that different people are using. Push those thumbs up, or I'll send Cupcake to eat all your food. Cupcake is Margie's big, mean, ferocious cat that we affectionately call Cuppy. She's so sweet. But she might eat all your food. She might eat all your food. So comments are appreciated. I love when I go in there and there's some comments that I can respond to. It just feels like somebody's watching, but I would rather have you guys here, because that's much better to have the interaction with you here. But comments are awesome. But the thumbs up will help get us out there to other friends that we haven't met yet, that are like-minded, that are going to bring even more innovation and ideas and fun to the party. So we're having shrimp. Oh, Sylvia, you shouldn't have said that. I am so jealous. So we're going to go ahead and call it right there. Try some of these techniques. There's so many more techniques. That's the thing about gel printing. And that's why Carrie says she sets it up and leaves it for a month, because you can try a different technique every single day and perfect it, doing it over and over. So there's just so many things to try. And honestly, anything you think of, you can try on the gel plate. There are no barriers. There's no can't or shouldn't do this or that. Do whatever you want. Just be aware that if it's not water-based, whatever you put on it, it will stain. And that's okay. It still works the same. It works just as well. It just leaves a stained plate. No big deal. Thanks for hanging out with me. This was lots of fun. I can't wait to see all your pictures in the group. And I'm probably going to pull a couple more prints, try a couple more things, and then I'm going to go ahead and get pictures in the group as well. So we'll see you very